Hey guys, Fire here from InDepth Gaming, bringing you another game review. This time we're checking out Amazing Breaker. This game is developed by Decavire Entertainment, published by Big Way Games, and released on October 27th, 2021 for a price of $7.99. So what is Amazing Breaker? It's technically a Brick Breaker-esque style game that features a few hundred levels spanning 3 different packs that separates all their levels out into 20 stages. Now, the way the stages work in this game is every level is actually a destructible piece of art that's made out of glass. The way the game works is you get a slingshot and you get to swing projectiles at the glass to try to blow them up. Every time you get to a stage, you have to break 90% of the glass to proceed to the next level. Now, that might seem simple on paper, but actually, as you play the game, it gets very challenging because you're going to be presented with a variety of different projectiles, bombs, throwables, really whatever you want to call them, to break the glass. Now, your ultimate goal with every level is to get 100% destruction, and what I do like about the game is there is a little meter on the bottom right of your screen. Once you hit that 90% mark, you're good to go, but the game does have you expend all of your projectiles until you either get to 100% or you fail. Now, when it comes to a lot of the levels, I would say until you get to the probably mid 40s, 50s, most of them are pretty straightforward and simple to complete. Where you're going to get into a lot of complex levels with this game is going to be when it requires you to use different bombs or use different bombs and projectiles to get to other areas in the game or maybe unlock additional projectiles. And that's where I actually really like the Amazing Breaker is it's not just here's the items you get to use, it's actually going to challenge you to take the items that it gives you and figure out the best way to get through levels. So I'm going to take you ahead here a little bit to actually one of the later levels I'm working on right now, which is 90, where it's going to require you to not necessarily get a ton of interesting bombs and stuff right away, but you might have to figure out a very specific way a level's been designed for you to figure out how to beat it. And that can be done in a culmination of ways, whether it's figuring out what the best paired items might be, or figuring out how to use your projectiles. Out of all the projectiles, I think the rocket here is one of my favorite ones that you get a little later in the game, and figuring out how to best prioritize them to get the most bang for your buck when it comes to triggering all the explosions. Do you use a chain reaction to blow up a bunch of glass in front of you right away, or do you wait until you can seize an opportunity to spread things out and get a lot more damage for what you're using? And that's all going to come down to what do you need to do to get to that 90 percentile. What I do like about the game is in a lot of games they seem to give you here's all your tools right away. I'm still in the first, like later 90s first pack of the game, and I'm still being introduced with new bombs and ways to play even at the stage of the game I'm at now, and I think that's honestly really a great effect of the game. Visually, this is probably one of my favorite games that I've seen hit Xbox recently as far as like an indie small type of game, because just what the game presents on the table is a very beautiful assortment of visuals and a nice fun take on a very not traditional style of game. Like Brick Breaker games like this have been around for a very long time, but this style of game is actually a very interesting take on it. I love that the projectiles are actually what you're working and focusing with more than just here's how to solve the level. You need to figure out what the best way to use the pieces you're presented with to actually complete that level. And I think that's something that's done in a very beautiful and really enjoyable way to play. The game's controls are extremely simplistic. You pretty much aim your slingshot. The further back you aim it, the more damage you're going to do as far as how far your projectile is going to go and what you're going to be able to do as far as distance and range. While you are playing the game, you're going to have to really get used to, managing how the far some of the distances for projectiles do go. You're going to get a few of the projectiles in the game that, you might want to decrease the amount of force you're using when you're throwing things, because it's going to give you the opportunity to maybe do more damage or line up some future shots based on what you're doing with how your layouts are going to go. As you can see here, I need to adjust the layout that I'm using to try to get the most, bang for my buck, so to speak, when it comes to chaining my projectiles together. If you notice, and it might be a little hard based on the screen you're looking at, as you get the planted projectiles that stay there and wait to be detonated, you actually can get them close enough where they'll chain reaction. And that's what that little line is connecting between all the pieces. Now, I don't really have too much more to say beyond, like, I really just enjoy this game, and I love that right off the bat the developers like, here's the level packs. We're not gonna make you have to pay, go into microtransactions, spend $8, and get a game that you're gonna really enjoy and have some fun with. And you can really appreciate that with the game. As far as achievements, this game is not gonna be an easy achievement game by any means. There's a lot of achievements that require you to do X amount of tasks, or basically perfect a lot of areas. So it's going to take some time. I think even the most avid achievement hunter out there is going to struggle a little bit. And I don't think many people are going to really finish this game out. But I think that's something that personally I enjoy because I'm sick and tired of easy games all the time. And it's going to be something that is pretty fun to do. Overall, if I have to recommend, buy Waiting for a Sale or passing on Amazing Breaker, I'm going to honestly say I recommend buying this game. I think for the price point that it comes in at, I think it's a great, nice pick up and play game. You can play a couple levels for a few minutes and then really come back and pick up where you left off in a future session. And, to me, that's just a perfect way to have a game. Overall, though, if you guys do end up picking the game out, let me know what you think down in the comments. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I hope you guys enjoyed this review, and we'll catch you guys next time. I hope you have a great rest of your day. We'll finish out this level, and we'll end the game.